you can go back and listen. So just a really quick introduction here, and our just a reminder that we really ideally bring these every week to you guys, different topics, because one, we want to have a way to help educate, and two, we 100% believe in the power of community and supporting each other. And that's really a big thing that's special about our group and our team, and our goal really, and our mission to help people. So just kind of a really quick introduction of me for you guys that don't know too much about me. I originally started my journey with health and wellness and learning more about natural alternatives because of my own health condition. So that was how I was led to Shaklee over 20 years ago. My background is in corporate fitness and wellness. So I worked in that industry for over 12 years. And then I decided to leave corporate wellness and begin my own journey of starting my own business, but also to raise our kids. So we now have 5 kids, and I am very passionate about helping others and really trying to, again, let people know about what's out there as far as, different types of opportunities of learning. And from a business standpoint, our Shackley business is something that we are very excited about, for the fact that, it is a great opportunity for people, even those that are right now struggling and maybe looking for ways to be able to work from home. And I look at this as a way that I'm going to be able to hand this down to our kids eventually. So that's a little bit about me. And I want to just begin by mentioning that I think that we all have got to remember that right now, nothing is normal. And we need to give ourselves a lot of grace because there's a lot of challenges. And I don't, know everybody's story here, but I know that we all have some areas that we probably are dealing with that we have never had to deal with in our life. And everybody is being impacted one way or another by what's going on right now. And I just think it is a very important thing, again, to highlight that you are not alone. We are all struggling. And it is a matter, though, of right now learning strategies that we can cope and ideas to help us overcome some of these challenges. And that is our goal. So we want you guys to know again that 100% you are not alone. And some of the areas I'm going to talk about, we only have 20 minutes. And I know that I could talk every week way longer than that because there's a lot of areas we can cover. But some of the things I'm going to be talking about here tonight, just to begin, a lot of this is actually coming from, I pulled this from a therapist that is working with a lot of people right now and helping them dealing with different coping mechanisms for stress and anxiety. And we're also going to pull in there some natural strategies using health options too. So just to kind of get you thinking about, the fact that right now, there is a lot of unawareness to what stress does to our body. And one of the best things we can start to first learn is the symptoms that we are starting to notice, and it's different for everyone. But if we continue to neglect those areas of our health and our life that's being affected, that is one of the biggest problems, because we don't necessarily realize some of the common complications of what stress does to our health and what stress does to your brain. It's very interesting that a stress response actually is what's known as a fight, flight, or freeze response. You actually have no control over it. Basically, when your body is helpless and you are randomly doing things, that is your body's stress response. And it's your way of trying to protect yourself. So we tend to do a lot of things on instinct, and that is what your stress response does. Is it's a mechanism that just kicks into place as soon as we noticing our body's starting to become under a lot of stress. These things can start to happen, and our body goes to that flight or flight response. So some of the things that we notice when our stress levels start to rise, this is kind of interesting because we start to have symptoms. And I don't think that a lot of times we realize that many of these things are normal. So if you notice your hands start to sweat, your digestive system gets affected. We talk a lot about, what the adrenal glands do in your body and how those can be affected by releasing more cortisol levels as your stress levels rise. And this all creates here this, again, stress response that we notice in our body. And as we learn more and more about what the systems in our body do, the problem we notice is that if we don't get this under control and the systems continue to be overloaded and taxed, this is where we notice these symptoms continue to get worse and progress. So a lot of this is awareness. And that's always our goal, is to help bring more awareness to what can we do and what are some areas that we can start to concentrate on. And some of these things you guys are going to be like, yeah, I know this. But when we're under a lot of pressure and we have a lot of things going on, we're dealing with this new territory of things going around us, we oftentimes don't think about some of the things we might already know to do. And these are hopefully good reminders. So there's different parts of our brain that start to come into play that we want to understand. So there's different approaches. The first one is a cognitive approach. So some of the times we notice, and if you're familiar with the different parts of the brain, that this one is going to be particularly the area that is actually the shortest part of your brain. And this is where our strategies turn into things like, self talk and planning. You're very good at making lists. These parts of your brain, for some people, tend to really be the place that we hit first. For a lot of people, they know these types of strategies. And I had to laugh really fast because when I was making a PowerPoint, it kept putting in spell check of CBD instead of CBT. So this is cognitive behavioral therapy. So these are a lot of things that people go to a therapist and they, tend to work through a lot of these types of strategies, which are great. So these might be areas that you've neglected for a little bit, maybe simple strategies like writing things down, get back to journaling and noticing what's going on in your life. And sometimes just writing that down really helps to release some of that stress. Sometimes the whole getting back into making lists, if you're really good at organization, sometimes that slips away and that creates more stress. So we have other strategies. This is the back to front strategy. And you'll notice that some of these things are external and some of these are internal. So for example, if we are focusing on mindfulness, that's internal. But some things, for example, if you look at a teenager, they may turn to video games as their mechanism for relaxing. So we have these different areas that we can pull from, that back to front response uses for relaxation strategies. And the longer list that you can create, the better. So again, think about the things for you that are relaxing. Now, you also have to take into account, like right now, you're probably not going to be gardening if that's one of your things that's relaxing. So we have to find a way to maybe reverse that. Somebody had mentioned earlier they were going for a walk. That is an excellent way to release some stress, is just getting outside, one, and two, getting some activity in. And we'll talk about that here in a little bit more. And bottom up, this is the core of our mental health. And I think that one of the problems we are seeing today is the lack of education in these areas. I do not hear a lot of people out there right now being advocates for saying, hey, are you sleeping enough? Uh, how is your hydration? Are you drinking enough? Are you noticing that your exercise regimen has completely gone away? Because when you're stressed, the last thing you really want to do is exercise. And that is only negatively impacting how you're feeling. And it's a cycle. It's just like gaining weight. The more weight you gain, the less energy you have, the more problems you start to have. And we notice the same thing with what stress does to our body. And I think it's very interesting that there are several studies now that actually say that over 80% of doctors' visits are actually stress related and stress induced, because stress does so many things to the body that causes different types of illnesses and diseases to start to occur. And these are the basic principles of core health. So just take a note of those four things and maybe realize, is there an area that I have really been starting to neglect in these core areas? And again, we are all different. So there might be one of us that really notices that, yeah, I sleep great, but man, now that it's winter and I don't sweat, I don't drink any water. And all of these can, again, create effects into another area. So just really want to highlight this. This is key strategies, guys, for helping with stress. And nutrition 101, guys, this is like getting back to the basics of looking at health. And when we look at what our bodies are made of, trillions of cells every day, our bodies are creating new cells. And it's kind of interesting that it takes about 7 years to fully regenerate all new cells in your body. But when you start to make changes in your health, those four strategies we just mentioned a little bit ago, you can actually start to notice changes within a few days. So our bodies are absolutely amazing. God made us so complex and so unique, but yet we know that the things that we do every day creates an impact both long term and short term. So we want to start to build healthy cells. These four key strategies: getting the vitamins, our building blocks, our minerals, our protein, and our water every single day, and looking at the types of foods we are eating. If we are constantly bombarding our bodies with, unfortunately, the SAD diet, standard American diet, that we are going to notice those foods continue to negatively impact our health. And we've got to steer away from those choices and start to get into focusing on building. And there's two pathways of disease. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with this book. It's by Robert Francis and it's called Never Be Sick Again. And I am a big fan of this book because he really highlights it's interesting of how, there's really two main things that lead to disease, and it's nutritional deficiencies. So when we're not filling the gaps and we consistently are continuing to have the deficiencies increase, that leads to disease, and also toxicity. So this means maybe things that are around us environmentally. Maybe, think about exposures to certain chemicals, like things that are underneath your sink. Unfortunately, a lot of those cleaning products have a high amount of chemicals in them, which creates toxicity. Even things like laundry detergent, or if you're working in some type of plant that has a lot of exhaust around, those types of things really do create toxicity in the body, and that leads to disease. So those are two things to just be more aware of in how we can start to reverse some of what that stress is doing to our bodies. And another area to really look at is our brain and gut health connection. And I talk about this a lot too, because I do feel like it's something that is very complex to understand, but it is a huge component of what's going on with our immune system and what is going on with our bodies in prevention and protection. So it's interesting that brain and gut connection, that one of the neurotransmitters called serotonin, which most people have heard of, the majority of it is actually produced in your gut. So if we're not giving our bodies the things that we need to continue to produce more serotonin, some of the things that we notice, which coming into the types of, symptoms we're going to start to see more and more with, unfortunately, the weather changing here and the darkness for more of us here in West Michigan, that, depression comes to an all-time high. We're not even talking about the stress from other situations. We're just talking about the weather changing and, the lack of sunlight, but the low energy, the tension, irritability, and that turns into also a lot of times cravings for sweets, because that brain and gut health imbalance has now created so much in our bodies that we get out of control. And we can make a difference and change this. And one of the best things we can do is fill in the gaps. This is why we've got to be thinking about our nutrition. And I know that most of us think, I know how to eat good, but do you do it every day? And that's what we're saying, is that when you have those deficiencies, even if it's a couple days a week, that can add up over time. And this is where we find, talking about supplements, that this is key. And I'm not going to give you guys a long, you know, basically lecture about how you need to be taking vitamins, but we need to know what are the key things that we can do with helping filling in the gaps. And I just want to quickly highlight here, there are several things that we like to use that we know work. And that is a combination of either using something like our Vitalizer, or there's a brand new personalized and customized program to health called Meology. Now, there's a couple different plans to start with for you guys that are new. We really highly recommend, especially the challenge options, because it gives you more value. But the nutritional components that you get for filling in the gaps is incredible with either of these two options. Now, what are the differences? The Vitalizer, there's three options: women, men, and gold. Women's has iron, men's doesn't. Vitalizer Gold is for those over 50. This gives you your coverage of, we talked about gut health, you got your probiotics, it's got your great omegas and your B complex, multivitamins, etc. But the Meology is going to take a little bit more into account your health history, your genetics, your goals, and give you a more customized approach to health. So we want to highlight these because this is something that people, again, really don't oftentimes understand. Why should you take vitamins? And when you go to the store, we can tell you right now that there's no guarantee that what you're actually getting is being absorbed. It's being released when it's supposed to. And that is why, for myself, over 20 years, we have continued to support Shaklee, because we know that there is a 100% money back guarantee and that everything they do is clinically proven and safe. And we want to highlight that we started a group right now that just began today that we would love you guys to participate. This is, our goal is really, it's not about selling pills. It's not about pushing people to take products. It's about really lifestyle changes and making a difference. And so we offer a lot of different challenge groups. And this one in particular, I'm very excited about because we're giving you workouts 5 days a week. You have the recipes that you need for, really making changes of getting more into plant-based options and learning more about whole foods. We have some Olympians coming in giving mindset tips. So I really would love everybody to participate. Ideally, we want people on a foundation. So starting with the vitalizer meology, and then in trying to incorporate what we mentioned a little bit ago is protein. This is our what we like to call our healthy fast food. It's quick, it's simple, and it really does work for everyone. There's plant-based or soy options, which soy is a plant, but there's different variations of this to help with trying to give you the foundations. And when we talk about filling in the gaps, guys, we cannot emphasize enough that even just sometimes adding in a protein drink a day, it can be life changing. And I don't, again, say that lightly. There are people's health that have been absolutely transformed just by getting low glycemic options that help keep their blood sugars stable. They don't notice the craving spiking, which again, we talked about what stress is doing and creating more of that bad bacteria in the gut health. And we want to start to realize that there are key things that stress really does affect. Now, I'm just going to highlight here really quickly, and we really do try to keep these to around 20 minutes. There are vitamins and minerals that are depleted quicker with stress. And then there are also a couple herbal options that we really like to highlight for helping you to deal with stress. So, you know, we tend to steer away from medications, and I'm not saying that they are not needed because for many people they are, but we know that medications have side effects. And when we are using good nature based vitamins and supplements, there are no side effects, only side benefits, that they continue to work in the body in many different ways. And B complex is going to be our first one to highlight here really quickly, that when your body is under high amounts of stress, you need more B vitamins. And you'll probably hear from a lot of people if they go to the doctor because they're noticing, symptoms like showing signs of depression or anxiety, that, their moods are starting to be altered. Instead of oftentimes somebody suggesting a B vitamin, they're going to say, hey, go, start on an antidepressant, because 1 in 3 Americans are now on an antidepressant. So we want you to know about these natural strategies that we always encourage people to try first. Pharmaceuticals are always going to be there, but we love to see if we can get nature-based options to work initially. And sometimes you're going to need more than what is maybe suggested on the bottle, because this is going to give you the recommended daily allowance. But a lot of times you're going to need more. If your body is burning through B vitamins quickly, you're going to need to be replacing them throughout the day. Every time you go to the bathroom, every time you eat sugar, every time a high stressful situation comes, you burn B vitamins. And not just B12. We want to have all the B vitamins being replaced in your body, just like you are eating food. And this B complex can be a lifesaver for many people. It helps with, too, when you're noticing cravings. I have recommended to many people that are trying to lose weight that as soon as they notice a really strong cravings for sugar, I say take 2B complex, give it 10 minutes. And I haven't had a person yet tell me it didn't work. I mean, it really is that powerful that if you can fill those voids, a lot of times those things are going to go away that your body is trying to tell you that you need, that you really didn't, because it's your mind. It's not actually what your body needs. Okay. You're creating different signals that are not actually what your body is truly needing at that moment. Osteomatrix is another one to mention because this helps with relaxation. So magnesium, Vital Mag is another incredible product, but I just picked two that are a little more comprehensive. The Osteomatrix is great because it has a combination of calcium, magnesium, vitamin D, boron. So you got the bone health benefits, but also to help you sleep. So we recommend taking this before bed, and it covers a lot of those vitamins and minerals that we are seeing today. Like I said, that stress in particular really does create a taxing effect on the body. And here's our two herbal options. So sometimes when we mentioned a little bit ago about, what disease is caused from, we try to fill in those gaps first with vitamins and minerals. Okay, you need to be replacing those. And then we can add these herbal options. And one of them that I am sure there are several on here that would give, raving reviews and testimonials of the stress relief complex because it is so fast acting. This is one of the things that when you're noticing whatever your signs of being stressed are. And I can tell you, it is amazing how everybody is so different. Some people, it can be they eat. Some people, it is they get shortness of breath. Some people actually break out in a sweat. I showed that graphic earlier. Their hands start to sweat. It really is different for everyone. But as soon as you notice stress overcoming your body, this blunts the cortisol levels that create those effects that we were talking about earlier from the stress response. This will help to control those. So, this is not going to make you tired. You can use it as many times a day as you want. I had someone that just recently lost a relative and they were absolutely going crazy, started having panic attacks. Of course, the doctor told them to go on a very high amount of an antidepressant, and it was basically Prozac, and it, explained some of the side effects. And she was really leery of it because she knew her mom actually had a history of really being addicted to medication. So she was very scared to go on any prescription. So she gave this a try, and I am not kidding you. She still to this day, I mean, it's been a few weeks now, but she's taking 6 of these a day, and she's just absolutely amazing. She tells everybody about, the effect of this, because it is something that, when it's helping, what a difference it makes, and that it's not addictive. And the fact that you can live a life normally, and a lot of us need that right now. Getting away from some of the abnormal to feeling normal is huge, especially coming into the holidays. And gentle sleep complex, this would be another one. This has passion flower, chamomile, valerian. It's very gentle, again, uses herbs, but it is another one that can help to create that calming effect. Now, some people, they do use it before bed, but there are people that also use this during the day. But sleeping is generally, we tend to see one of the first things that's affected by sleep. And if you are not sleeping well, and if some of you know what this feels like, it will absolutely change your life, because sleep affects everything. You will be altered in how you think. Your fogginess comes into play. You can't make good decisions. Everything is affected. So we need to be getting good sleep. So again, a safe, natural alternative that anybody can try, even kids. Any of these products are even safe for kids. So that is great to know that even they are dealing with stress right now. So this isn't just dealing with one population. This is for everyone, guys, and thinking about strategies to help them overcome and know what's available. I mentioned the Shaklee Guarantee a little bit ago, and I just want to highlight that, you don't have to worry about contaminants. Like if you were taking an over the counter example protein product, many of those could have, arsenic and things that are considered natural added. But of course, that's not good for us. And we really like you to know the difference and understand that. And that's part of Shaklee and why we do what we do, and to share this. And just to mention too, for some people that are like, yeah, some of the Shaklee products, I will say, are a little more expensive. But one, we know they work. Two, we know they're safe. And three, the amount of research and clinical studies that are behind the products cannot be beat. So when you know that you want to take quality products, there are options that if you share the products, you can find ways to help get them paid for. So we always like to highlight this. And I think right now, with people being home, we have Shaklee survived many recessions now. I mean, being around for over 100 years, they've been through a lot. And it's interesting that Shaklee thrives when a lot of the population starts to notice a downturn, because people start to value their health more. It's very interesting that, a lot of times we neglect health when things are going well, and we don't like to see people wait until they're sick and when they're ill to start to want to take care of themselves. So I give you guys all credit just for being on here to learn some strategies, because that is the first step. And, if you want to learn more about things you can do, we kind of really like to highlight, get back to a lot of the basics, and that's really a lot what we share. Breathing techniques, amazing. Deep breathing in and out your nose. I teach that a lot in our yoga classes, and it doesn't have to be anything crazy that you have to do, some crazy hour-long deep breathing session. It's a matter of just taking some deep breaths in and out your nose, and it will make a connection with your mind to calm your body. And that is just a very simple technique to use throughout your day. Even a mindfulness type practice, there are apps. These are a couple apps, an Insight Timer and Oak are a couple good apps that you can have that actually walk you through, just kind of guided breathing and relaxing, and just some different types of areas you can focus on. Gratitude. This sounds so basic, guys, but I cannot tell you how it is so interesting that if you can even just start to realize more things to be thankful for, stress will not affect your body as much. I've been getting in the habit of this. There's a couple of you might be on this, that we started this praying wives challenge group type thing that someone had started. And it's been just very powerful for giving ideas and tips for helping you in your spiritual life. But this is teaching you every day to start out with writing down things that you are thankful for. And it might sound like, really, that's going to help me. I encourage you to try it. And honestly, the things that sometimes we totally overlook, you take for granted, but when you realize all the things you have, it makes the things that are going bad not affect you quite as much. So gratitude, exercise every day. Can't emphasize enough, guys. You need those endorphins. All right. Every time that you exercise, you get those pings of endorphins to your brain, and you need those. That helps you feel good. So every day move. It doesn't have to be crazy again amounts of times, like I was saying with the mindfulness stuff and the breathing. Even if it's 5 minutes, move every single day. Get back to core nutrition, work on getting more whole foods and adding that extra B complex. And we know that you will have great success in moving forward with some strategies to help you. And I just have to highlight these really quickly because these are great deals that for people that like to save money, there's a holiday gift guide right now that incorporates a lot of different Shaklee products that the Osteomatrix we talked about is one of these, vitamin D3, some immunity products, but you can right now, any three of these products together, you get an additional 15% off. So that's 30% off savings right now through December 6th. So love these. If you're looking just, to be able to stock up, maybe for ideas for Christmas presents. I just am thankful that they put this out there because I think it's a good way to help people right now. And there's also a few sports related products, and these energy chews, by the way, also have B vitamins in there. So that is another great one for when you need a little pick me up. We are big fans of those energy chews too. And the last thing to mention, this is just a graphic showing how you can use those products in different ways, is through today, there's a great special that ends today, guys, that if you were on the fence of trying to think about, yeah, I really do want to try a few things, or I have really been contemplating on, I need to switch over my breakfast, for example, and I want to replace it with a life shake and get started on a good program, that through today, if you purchase over $200, and if any product, even you get the gift guide options that can be doubled up with this, that you get a free pumpkin spice life shake through today. And there are two kinds. There is a plant-based and there is a soy. They brought this pumpkin turmeric spice life shake back just for this Black Friday and through this weekend, but they're extending the availability of this until it's gone. But the special for the Black Friday ends today through Cyber Monday. So again, a $200 order, guys, that's almost a $60 value for free. So just wanted to make sure that you know about this. All right, guys, let's open it up for questions here really quickly. I know I'm over time, or if there's anything someone wants to add, I don't see anything in the chat here. So does anybody have any questions or something they'd like to comment on, or even just to say this was helpful? That would be great. Feel free to unmute yourself, guys. I hope you're not all sleeping.
Not
all
yet.
Right. Okay, good. I can see a few of you. All right, guys. Well, again, I hope it was helpful. And as always, reach out to the person invited you guys, think of some questions. And again, I really want to highlight that Balance Through the Holidays group. Today, we just shared in there a great little questionnaire to kick it off. So I just think that we could put ourselves in such a better place to focus on our health now instead of waiting until January and New Year's resolution. So let's get ahead of the game, guys. And again, anytime we can help, please reach out and please share feedback with us. We'd love to hear from you, and stay healthy, guys, and happy holidays. You guys that want to hang out here for a little bit, we also have a few business updates. So, all right, guys, sorry, I do see, let me just make sure these questions. Oh, good. I got a couple comments. All right, guys, thank you very much. Have a great night, everyone.
Thank you, Amanda.